In some ways, it is hard to believe that tomorrow marks 22 years since the September 11th bombings and the attacks on our country. And for those of us who remember it vividly, probably we remember where we were when we saw or heard what was going on, because it has embedded itself so deeply in our memories. For some of us, we remember very vividly the explosion of the Challenger space shuttle, same kind of thing. It's there. For those of us who are older, we remember the assassination of President Kennedy, which was now about 60 years ago. And then even for some of you, perhaps, remember Pearl Harbor 82 years ago. These things come into our memory and stay. But if we're not careful, we start to think of our whole history as simply one disaster and trauma and horror after another. And they are certainly part of existence, but they are not the whole story. Jesus gives us a way to look at all of this and say, wait a minute, there's something more. Because what can happen during disasters and traumas and horrors is we begin to doubt. We begin to wonder where God is. Why is he not doing something about this? Or even, is there God? So we start to ask kind of dangerous questions. And Jesus today reminds us that no matter what is happening, when 2 or 3 or more are gathered, he is there with them. And he teaches us today by the way he even brings that to his disciples of what it means for us. Because we all have fundamental questions about what it means to be human. Who am I? Where did I come from? Why am I here? Where am I going? And Jesus answers those. Our faith answers those. Jesus lets us know that no matter what terrible things might happen in the world, our faith is its own reward. Think of it. Where did we come from? We came from the love of God. Our faith teaches us this. We came because God, who is love, shared himself with the world by creating each one of us. And that is very important because it lets us know that we belong, that none of us is a mistake, that each of us has something wonderful to bring to this world, that God's love is radiating through each of us. And that should give us a sense of peace. We belong. And then if we ask, why are we here? Jesus lets us know that our faith teaches us we are here not only to make a difference in the world, which is very important, but we are also here to prepare for our life with God forever. That we are here to look at this as a wonderful preparation time before we come to God at the end of our lives here on earth. That's something amazing. But we have a purpose in life. That's important. And finally, when we ask, where are we going? Well, of course, our Lord teaches us, and our faith teaches us, that God prepares a place for each of us and wants us to be with him in heaven, because he cannot stand the idea of being apart from us for even 1 second. And so God prepares this place. Jesus tells us that very clearly in the Gospel of St. John, and that we can have an eternity with him in joy. And so we can have, if we embrace our faith, a life of peace, purpose, and joy. This is only given to us truly through the life of faith. And so whenever we have things that are very, very difficult and ugly to look at in the world, even brutal, we can know that our faith has a response of peace, purpose, and joy, because our lives can make a profound difference, because we care fundamentally, basically, deeply about the terms under which we live and die. And so today, as we hear these readings, which call us to reconciliation, which call us to understand the presence of Jesus in our lives, and as we remember a terrible thing that happened 22 years ago tomorrow, and all the difficult things that have happened in our history, even in our recent history that many of us remember, that we have to remember on top of all of that and over all of that, what our faith does. It doesn't change what happened, but it changes how we see what happened. And that's much more important. Today, then, let us ask God to help us embrace that faith, that we truly believe that when we are gathered, Jesus is with us and that he offers us lives of peace, purpose, and joy.